Hello, everybody. It's me, Madame Sensei. I am thinking through something really big today. So if you have any uh, insight into this or opinions on it, please let me know before I make huge decisions. So every Monday, I talk to my students about how their brain learns, especially for my language students. And I call this Metacognition Monday, and I've got a whole playlist about that. And I talk to them specifically about the importance of handwriting, how important it is to take notes. And last year, it was really pulling teeth. Could not get them to get out their notebooks, could not get them to even grab scratch paper. I'm like, you guys, you cannot hold it in your brain. You've got to take notes. That's what's going to help you process things. And I tell them this long, involved story about me in graduate school and all of us flunking and how we just basically copied each other's notes over and we all got A pluses. So I know that handwriting is important. And then I also teach my students how to sketchnote. I think sketchnoting is very important. And I find this fascinating because I was never encouraged in art as a student myself. But now as an adult, I see really the benefit of having that visual learning. So teach them very explicitly how to sketchnote, how to smash doodle, anything, any note-taking things, color coding. We do all of that. So, this year coming up, I'm going to take the deep dive. Haven't been brave enough to do it yet, but I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to do the deep dive into interactive notebooks. I've already made a section in my daily open. Oh my God, I got so many things I have to open every day. The students laugh at me because I have so many tabs that open at the top of the screen, but it's because I get up at 5 a.m. to open all the tabs I need for all the different classes I teach. So, interactive notebooks. Okay, so this is my thinking so far. First of all, I have 6 table groups because I have about 36 students in several of my classes. And so I have 6 table groups of about 6 students apiece. And I named each of the table groups after a country or a city that speaks the target language. And my English class has table groups also, and they're named after books that we read or songs that we listen to. And my health class has table groups, and they're named after the units that we study and everything. But here's my language classes. Okay, so Spanish, I've got Argentina, Cuba. Japanese, I've got Kyushu, I've got Hokkaido. French, I've got La Belgique, Le Djibouti, etc., etc. Okay, so each one, and they get really competitive over this, and I really like this. All right, so when I first started doing this, I just put out little table tents with the name of the country on it. And the students kind of pick up the table tents and they bend them around and everything. And that was fine, because they're easy to make. I just need more cardstock and everything. But then after a few years of doing that, I thought, you know what, I'm going to be a little more clever, because then I had to add English to my list of things that I teach, which means that my wall space is really, really crucial. It is at such a premium, the real estate on my walls. So I thought, hey, you know what? I got a great idea. I'll just take some of the stuff off the walls and I'll put it on these chat mats. Okay, so, I got a little picture, and I colored them in before I had my secretary laminate them because I don't have a color copier, but printed them really large because this is like one sheet of paper and this is another sheet of paper, and I taped them together and I colored them in and I handed it to my secretary. When I put the flag colors over here, I handed it to my secretary and said, laminate this, please. So even though it's laminated, the students still, and it wasn't like, I can't describe it. It's like, they're just thinking, and while they're thinking, they need a fidget in their hands, and so they were kind of destroying my chat mats. And sometimes they're just talking to each other. They're not even thinking. They're just destroying the chat mats. And you see, I've got two chemistry tables together here, and they shove the chat mats in this little crack, and it was like, okay, guys, I'm taking the chat mats off the table for this class because you're not treating them well. So this is all running around in my head as I'm thinking about interactive notebooks, right? The other thing is, and I'm fairly certain that my beloved custodians, are not going to be listening to my YouTube channel. My custodians don't vacuum my room every day. And I do a lot of art projects, and this is after a week The custodian still hadn't come and vacuumed. This is just a random spot in the middle of my class. This is near the door where the trash cans are. And this has been like this for a week now. So if I do interactive notebooks, it's going to be even worse. But I'm going to take the deep plunge. I've been thinking about it, and the students, they don't know how to take notes nowadays. They have to be intentionally taught, and they need to... I run a game-based classroom, so it seems logical that I would turn towards interactive notebooks, okay? So I have all these clay pots that the art students make and then don't want, and I'm like, I'm sure I can find a use for them. So I'm going to use the clay pots on the desk, and I got all my colored pencil cases, which normally I hobble around the class, and I am like, okay, we're doing something art-like, or, you need the colored pencils now, we're drawing. So I pass out the colored pencils and the markers to each desk, but I've decided to leave the markers in the cabinet right now and put out the colored pencils. I'm a little nervous because last year, weird stuff going on. Last year was a really difficult year. Last year, I had a lot of students breaking pencils just for the fun of it. They were just like, challenging each other to break pencils. And man, if they break my colored pencils, I'm going to cry all over them because, this all comes out of my budget, So hopefully they'll treat them nice. I'm a little worried about that. But I went to the dollar store and I bought these really adorable little trash can things. I've seen them at the dollar store for 100 million years, and I always thought, wow, if I was still into Barbie dolls, I would get one of those, But now I thought, I have to encourage them to clean up and not to leave that mess on the floor. So I bought 6 of these little trash cans, and I'll probably put stickers with the country names on them. But, I got to have 5 different things on each one because I've got so many different subjects going on in my classroom. This is going to have 2 pairs of scissors, but I'm not going to put out all the scissors because I don't want them to be cutting each other. I put 2, I got more here, but I decided to put 2 rulers in each thing. And I put 1 glue stick in each thing because I know they're going to go through glue sticks really fast. So I don't want to encourage them like, oh yeah, I've got a lot of glue sticks. So I'll just put 1 out at a time. And when we do like a lot of interactive notebook stuff, then I'll pass out extra glue sticks at that point. But just in general, on the off days, they'll still have scissors and glue sticks and colored pencils. I'm always going to keep the colored pencils there, I've decided. All right, so as I'm talking about my ideas for interactive notebooks, this is where I got them from. I will put all this in the description of the video. And I know I must be leaving somebody off, and I apologize. I'll find it, okay? So Jill Stock has this one, and Angie Torrey, who's great, has this one. Katherine at Señorita Cruz has a bunch of stuff. Jessica Hall has a bunch of good stuff, and Mixon. So I got a ton of good ideas from all these places. These people are all people I saw in the Practical and Comprehensible conference, or maybe the World Language Teachers Summit conference. This one is she had a really good website with a lot of good ideas that I found very, very inspiring. All right, so in their interactive notebooks, the first page is going to be just last year and the year before, I would pass out like photocopies of this, and I'd have them colored in as they go on the stepping stones of Duolingo. Just because when my son was in high school, he was in guitar class, and he said that was his favorite class. And I was like, oh, really? Why? Because I'm happy. I like guitar, I'm very happy that he likes guitar. But why do you like guitar best? And he said, because I can see myself getting better. In math class, I have no idea if I'm getting better or not. But in guitar class, I can immediately tell that I'm getting better. And I thought, wow, that's so wise. That's so brilliant. How can I do that for my own students? And that's when I started having them fill out these like graphic equalizer bars of how much progress have you made toward this goal and all that. And so I started having them do that with Duolingo too, because I had some students start skipping lessons, and I didn't want them. I want them having some contact with the language 5 minutes outside of class. I'm going to go over 10 minutes again. I'm trying so hard not to go over 10 minutes. But this time I think I'm going to have them do that in the interactive notebook. All right, so I'm also going to have them glue in some pockets. All right. And then, I've got all this, whoops, I guess I put it over here. Got all this really dumb workbook stuff that I actually years ago I made into sorts and stations, which were really fun. Like I cut these out and I glued them onto popsicle sticks, and then the students have to like sort it out and everything. And why don't they just do that in their interactive notebook, right? So I'll just, print it out, and then they can cut it up, and then they can sort it. And is it a greeting? Is it an intro? Is it a goodbye? Okay. And then for my French students, I'm going to have them do a little sorting thing for liaison and elision, of course. But, they can do this during the advisory period. So that'll keep them taking out their interactive notebook. And I was thinking, what other things could I have them put into pockets in an interactive notebook? And one of those fine ladies that I just showed you on the previous screen pointed me to this, the Tarsia. I had never seen these before, but this looks kind of fun. It's this little puzzle, and the students have to like match up the subject and the verb that I did this like. But you could do like half a sentence and the other half of the sentence, or you could do it as if you wanted English and target language, you could do that, or however you want to make them match it up. So they'll cut it out, and then they'll play little sorting games, and then they can put it in a pocket. Here's another little like trifold I made. And I've printed out like 240 of these so I can hand them out at least for the first week without thinking about it. But, then I'll show the students that they can just write their subject pronouns here or whatever. And then show them how to glue this onto the paper and fold here and cut here and all that. Okay, and then I want them, of course, to track their verbs in the interactive notebook, and we'll color code and everything. And I'm probably going to give them like a sticky notes or tabs or something so they can find them easy if they want. But I do feel that verb conjugation is very important because although there's, all this wonderful theory about this is not how babies learn. Well, my students are high school. They're not babies. They have almost adult brains. They can use pattern recognition. And I find that teaching verbs in patterns helps them be able to articulate faster than if I just pretended like they were babies and that I was holding them for 23 hours a day and getting my 1 hour nap and speaking to them constantly. I only have them for an hour a day. So I really lean into the pattern recognition. And then I'm going to show them how to fold a flip book and, the accordion style too. I don't think I put a screenshot of that. Then I went through all my origami stuff. Now, normally I don't teach Spanish or French origami with a couple of exceptions, like when we do suitcases. I teach them how to fold an envelope so that they can pretend it's a suitcase and pack it. And maybe, paper airplanes. We do a paper airplane thing so I can describe prepositions of location. They can get to throw the airplane and then say where it landed and stuff like that. So normally I don't take out too much origami with them because I feel like culturally I want to save it for the Japanese students. That's very cultural in Japanese. But I've got some fun stuff that would be great in an interactive book. This is a face changer. So I could teach them the parts of the face, and then they can play with it when they're not in my class and they're bored in advisory period, or bored in math class and their math teacher says you can read a book or something. They might take out their interactive notebook and play with it. That would give them another little 30 seconds contact with the language. That'd be great. So instead of like here we can have the eyes blinking, we can have like 4 different eyes, I think, 4 different mouths, 4 different hairs. The last one can be the word. All right, the next thing I did, remember I said I had really, really precious wall space. Oh, this was difficult for me, but I said I got to take something down because I'm going to have to Vanna White these every week when we do this. And so this is a giant poster board, and I printed up just the main things I figured they were going to have trouble folding because I really want to give them the instructions in the target language. Eventually, I won't do it the first time, but eventually, hey guys, fold this is going to be in whatever target language. So I just folded a bunch of them, and I wrote here, this is where you glue here, glue here. This is a typical pocket. And then I also wanted to demonstrate, hey guys, your picture goes on the top and the word underneath. This is one of the reasons I don't use Quizlet, is because Quizlet doesn't understand. The one time I was able to talk to a person there, I said, look, I need the pictures on the front of the card. And they're like, just have your students change it. And I'm like, no, the students aren't reliably going to change it. They need to see the picture first and then think about what the word is, not see the word and then visualize it. It's not as good that way. Okay, so anyway, that's my idea. And then the last thing I'm going to have to do is, normally I teach bell to bell. Like, I'm one of those teachers of the bell doesn't dismiss you, I dismiss you, and I want to use every single second. If I'm doing interactive notebook, because of the mess, I'm going to have to make sure to stop 5 minutes before the end and make sure the students clean up. So that's going to be a big mind shift for me. And that's all I'm thinking through for this. If you have other ideas, I would love to hear them. If you have your favorite interactive notebook things, I'd love to hear it. Just comment below or reach me at any of the places I hang out, which is, go all the way back, Minecraft Teachers Lounge or the Minecraft Education Ambassadors, Roxem, Duolingo Educators Network, Teacher Excellence Lounge or the World Language Teacher Lounge, or the Wayground Game Changers. Please talk to me there. Hope to see you there.